How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sword and Shield Wi-Fi battle. Today we're battling Nat20 from the Discord server. If you want to battle me, join the Discord server, it's the best place to go. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this one. With that being said, let's jump into the game. And here we are, here's the teams. Nat's got a Crawdaunt, a Bronzong, a Nidoking, Galvantula, Mimikyu, and a Conkeldurr. Pretty powerful looking team if you ask me. We've obviously got Lycanroc-Dusk, we've got Jangles, the Kommo-o, a Gardevoir, Talonflame, Inteleon, and a Silvally. I'm rubbish with names sometimes, but anyway, looking at these team matchups, I think Bronzong or a Galvantula lead is pretty a good guess. So what I'm thinking is we lead off with something like Talonflame. No, I think Silvally-Ground's actually a decent one. Yeah, let's go Silvally-Ground. And the battle begins. So that's going to lead off with Hot Plate, which is of course the Bronzong. Hot Plate. The fact that it's called Hot Plate makes me think it's heat proof, but I don't really want to risk the multi-attack. I feel like it's bait. It's definitely bait, right? I don't know. Let's go for a parting shot. They're probably going to go for a Stealth Rocks or a Screens or something like that, so we'll just parting shot, making sure they can't do any damage to us, and go from there. There we go. We go for the parting shot. Reduce their offensive prowess, even though they haven't really got much, being a Bronzong. But Gyro Ball and stuff like that can still hurt pretty bad, especially if they go for the Explosion. That's also a bad one. So looking at this matchup, I would say we're probably better off going into Inteleon and getting Choice Specs Dark Pulse off. That seems like a solid one for me. I didn't take a picture of the team. It is fine because Sword and Shield has that nifty feature where you can take a picture. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So they actually went for a Hypnosis, which does miss, so that's unfortunate. Looking at their team, though. Looking at their team, I can't really see anything other than the Crawdaunt and the Conkeldurr that can come in on a Dark Pulse. So I'm going to go ahead and go for it and see what kind of damage we're talking about here. They actually stay in, so we're going to get a Dark Pulse off on the Bronzong, which is good damage. Does over half, which is great, so I'm going to guess that they're especially defensive. They actually go for a Reflect, which means that the next turn we can take them out with a Dark Pulse. I personally would have gone for the Light Screen there with it being an Inteleon, but you know, it's all in hindsight now. We'll go for another Dark Pulse. I don't see any reason not to. They're probably going to switch now into one of the Crawdaunt or the Conkeldurr, I'd guess. They are going to withdraw the Bronzong this turn. Are they going to go Conkeldurr? Santana. That's the Conkeldurr. There we go. So we're going to get some decent bit of chip damage off on the Conkeldurr at least. So the more damage on that thing, the better. Conkeldurr is definitely a monster when it comes to power. It's not very fast though. That's something to keep in mind. It is not a fast Pokemon at all. It's very slow. So what we can do now is we can switch out into... I want to go Gardevoir, but I'm feeling that knockoff's coming my way. Makes me want to go into our Silvally instead, because Silvally doesn't really care about knockoffs because of its item being, well, unable to be knocked off. Right, there we go. We're going to switch out into Silvally. The main reason I'm going to Silvally is it's actually not an offensive reason. I don't really care about getting damage off on this Conkeldurr, really. Right now, I'm thinking more along the lines of getting its offensive power down. So I think Parting Shot is a very good shout here. We could also do with getting rid of the Reflect that's up. So I'm thinking of going for a Defog. The problem with that is, obviously, it's going to be tough to get a Pokemon in against said Conkeldurr. But the problem again is that with the Reflect up, we can't Revenge Kill this thing with a... what's it called? Let's go for a Parting Shot. They might switch out here. They might not. There we go. We go for the Parting Shot. It's going to do nothing to it, obviously, other than lowering its attack, which is more than ideal to lower its attack power. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to go back out into Gardevoir. Gardevoir is definitely a good switch here. Looking at their team, the only thing they have that can switch into Gardevoir, ideally, is the Bronzong. And technically the Crawdaunt if we go for a Psychic. So we see that they have Guts as well, which is interesting. They go for the Drain Punch. It's not going to do much damage to us at all. Not even the slightest bit of damage there. So now we've got to worry about what they're going to go into next. They definitely switch out here because Gardevoir wrecks Conkeldurr 1v1 easily. They probably go into Bronzong. They either go Bronzong or they go Crawdaunt expecting a Moonblast. So I'm thinking... No, they won't go Crawdaunt. No, they go Bronzong really, don't they? I'm thinking we go Mystical Fire, to be honest with you. They definitely don't stay in. There we go, they switched out. Are they going to go into Bronzong? Can we get a Mystical Fire? Hot Plate comes in, and the amount of damage that this Mystical Fire does will also tell us whether it's heat proof or not. I'm curious as to find out. So Oh, Mystical Fire doesn't take it out, which tells me that maybe it is Heat Proof, which is an interesting one. I normally see Levitate, but Heat Proof could just work as well. We'll go for another Mystical Fire anyway. It'll definitely take out the Bronzong. They might just let it go down here. They could easily switch out, but they don't know necessarily that I'm locked in yet. There we go. We go for another Mystical Fire. They do stay in, and they let the Bronzong go down. So Bronzong is out the way. That's great news. Great news indeed. So now they can easily go in something like Crawdaunt and set up a Dragon Dance if they really wanted to. In comes Clutter. The Spider. Okay, the Galvantula comes in. All right, neat. Galvantula's an interesting one here because they've probably got Focus Sash, which will be why they've brought it in. They want to get up the Sticky Webs, I'm guessing. They're more than likely going to go for a Thunder or a Bug Buzz. So I'm really curious as to what I can switch in here. I could probably get away with Kommo-o. So I'm going to go ahead and go into Kommo-o. I think Kommo-o is a really good switch here. So let's switch out real quick. We'll go into Kommo-o, who can resist both stabs of this Pokemon. It's definitely a good shout. They go for the Bug Buzz. We should eat this up like it's nothing. There we go. Look at that. Delicious, nutritious. Now I'm wondering what is the Reflect still? Wait, what was that? Froze Spray. That's a really cool tactic. I never even thought about using Throat Spray on Bug Buzz. Wow. That's pretty cool, that is. So let's go for the info real quick because I just want to double check. Yeah, Reflect still up. It's got one more turn. I'm thinking we go for an Earthquake. I'm guessing Mimikyu can come in here easily, completely immune to both our stabs. So I think we go for an Earthquake here. Definitely Earthquake. They go for another Bug Buzz, which is going to do a considerable amount more damage thanks to the Throat Spray. We go for the Earthquake. That's definitely going to do a nice little chunk of damage to them. Not as much as I would like because of the pesky Reflect over there. But the Reflect should be wearing off this next turn. So, there we go. Reflect wears off. Still wanting to go for an Earthquake, but at the same time, I'm like, Dragon Claw's there. I think we go for Dragon Claw. It looks like they're not switching out. They're going to go ahead and try and press us, put more pressure on us, you know. They stay in and they go for a Sticky Webs. That's a pretty good tactic, to be fair. A lot of the Pokemon on their team can benefit from the Sticky Webs, such as the Crawdaunt, the Nidoking, the Mimikyu. They can all benefit highly from it. And Dragon Claw takes out Galvantula, which is just perfect. So down goes the Spider. Itsy bitsy Spider. Died to a Dragon. What can I say? Right, in comes Natsuki, which is, of course, the Mimikyu. Nice and shiny as well. I'm loving all the shinies that you've got now. It's really cool because I know Nat breeds her teams, so it's like really cool seeing all these shinies, knowing that they're all like completely legit. Where mine are all completely legit as well. Looking at the rest of this team matchup, I'm not so sure Kommo is doing too much for us. However, I can't really see what else we've got going on here. They're probably going to go for a Swords Dance, expecting us to switch, right? Can I afford that? I really would like to get rid of its disguise so that, you know, Talonflame can come in and Brave Bird it in the face. That'd be nice. So let's go for the Earthquake, expecting a Swords Dance. If they KO us, it's fine. But, you know, I'm fully expecting a Swords Dance here. So there we go. We're going to break its disguise real quick. Get a little bit of chip damage off on it as well, because that's a new mechanic from Gen 7 to Gen 8. Little tiny bit of chip. There we go. And they actually went for a trick. So this isn't a Swords Dance Mimikyu. Interesting. What have they just put on me? Sticky Barb? They nicked our leftovers and put a Sticky Barb on us. That's cheeky, that is. But it works. Because now we're going to get hurt every turn. But the only problem I have with that play is that I guess you wanted to get rid of the Sticky Barb as quick as possible so it wouldn't damage you. But you definitely could have just taken us out with a play rough right there, because now I'm going to get a free Earthquake off. But, you know, it's fine. This Mimikyu could definitely still turn around and wreck us. Right, we go for an Earthquake, get some chip damage off on this Mimikyu. Wow, it took it really well. Really well. And we'll go for a play rough, and it's going to take us out. So Kommo-o goes down, which is unfortunate, but I couldn't see any other way around it. I'm looking at their team, and I'm thinking Talonflame does really well here. Talonflame really does well. Looking at the damage that we did, I'm going to guess they are a physically defensive variant of Mimikyu, which is a very rare thing to see. In which case, I want to go into my Inteleon and go for a Surf. Surf's going to damage a lot of things on their team. Crawdaunt is still going to get a lot of damage from a Choice Spec Surf from Inteleon. So hopefully Inteleon can do some decent work here. Speed does drop, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. We'll go for a Surf real quick, and that should do a lot of damage. I suppose in hindsight, I could have gone into Silvally and got a defog off. Since the Galvantula and the Bronzong is gone, we can get rid of that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. We're mainly doing this to get the Surf off on the Mimikyu. So Choice Spec Surf coming through. Is Mimikyu going to be able to take it? No, it isn't. Mimikyu goes down, so that's brilliant. That is brilliant right there. So what we can probably expect now is either Conkeldurr comes in to Drain Punch us to death, or Nidoking comes in to fire off a Thunderbolt. It'll outspeed us now because of the Sticky Web. In comes Gradius, which is, of course, the Nidoking. So this is less than ideal of a situation for us to be in. We are going to get hit in the face by a Sheer Force boosted Thunderbolt, more than likely. I'm tempted to switch into the Silvally. There is always the chance that they're Choice Scarfed. Or Choice Specs, I guess. But it's more than likely their Life Orb. So we'll go into Prototype real quick. Try and get the immunity from the Thunderbolt. They might read us like a book, but we'll have to see what they're going to do. As they do go for a Sludge Wave. So Sludge Wave is an interesting one. We do resist that. But unfortunately, resisting it isn't enough. As it is going to be able to take us down. That's a shame. It's a real shame, that is. We'll go for the defog just on the off chance they switch out. But I doubt they will. They go for an Ice Beam, showing us they can switch up moves as well, which is terrifying. However, the fact that they went for Sludge Wave on Inteleon does tell me that they might not have Thunderbolt. And the fact that we've seen Ice Beam and Sludge Wave, Earth Power's got to be on there, and they usually have a Fire-type move. So we might be good here. We might be good. Might be. Keyword being might. We have got Choice Scarfed on the Gardevoir, so we might actually be alright to go for a Psychic here. So we'll go into Gardevoir, and even though we're getting Sticky Webs, we've got the Choice Scarf, which should negate the Sticky Webs, in which case we should outspeed the Nidoking. I'm pretty sure we outspeed anyway. Sheer Force is also going to boost Psychic's power, which is incredible. Oh, now I'm just thinking whether or not they go into Crawdon. If they go into Crawdon, it's fine. I would rather them go into Crawdon than staying and outspeed us. Let's go for the Psychic. Psychic should definitely take out the Nidoking. I'm pretty sure we outspeed here. If not, I'm going to eat my Slipper. But, you know, I'm pretty sure we do. Right, they're going to withdraw. They're going to go into Crawdon. Corinthia. That is the Crawdon. Damn. Shiny Crawdon looks pretty cool in Sword and Shield, to be fair. Psychic's not going to do anything to that. We could have read that, but, you know, when Nidoking's on the field, it's a big threat. You just don't want to mess around with it. That's all I can say to that. Like, you just don't want to mess around with it, you know. I'm just trying to think what's the best option here. I mean, what's Dusk Puppy doing for us? Not a lot. Let's go into Dusk Puppy. Let's go into the Lycanroc-Dusk form. They're probably going to Dragonance all over us. They might go for a knockoff on us. They might just go straight for a Crab Hammer or a Liquidation. I don't know whether he gets Liquidation or not. Hopefully not, because I would like to get an Accelerock off on this if possible. They go for the Dragon Dance. Okay, Dragon Dance comes through. That is not ideal. Really not the ideal situation that we want from this. They definitely outspeed us. We'll go for the Accelerock just on the off chance they don't go for the Aqua Jet. I can see them going for the Aqua Jet though. There we go. We go for the Accelerock, which is great. Does a solid amount of damage, which is brilliant. As they go for the knockoff, and that's of course going to take us out, unfortunately. Like Crawdon gets adaptability, so it gets, not only does it get stab knockoff, it gets adaptability boosted knockoff, which is just crazy good. However, we're in a decent position because we can just go into our Talonflame right now, and thanks to there not being any Stealth Rock, no, Stealth Rocks wouldn't matter anyway, but thanks to Sticky Webs not affecting us due to A, our Heavy Duty Boots, and B, our Flying typing, we can just go straight for a Brave Bird, and it'll be priority. They won't be able to outspeed us. Unless they have Aqua Jet. Crap. Unless they have Aqua Jet. They don't have Aqua Jet. We can go straight for the Brave. No. I'm pretty sure we would still have done that. So Brave Bird comes through. That's going to take out the Crawdon, which is great. We have only got 3 minutes left, so this battle's actually doing pretty well, actually. I think this is a really fun battle, to be honest with you. All right, now they're going to Gradius, the Nidoking. So, really do not know what to do in this situation. Brave Bird is not going to KO. We can U-turn to get a bit of chip damage. I think that's what we do. We U-turn to get a bit of chip damage off. There we go. We'll U-turn real quick. They probably go for a Sludge Wave or a Ice Beam here. So I'm going to go ahead and go into... I think this Sludge Wave, so we'll go into Inteleon. Inteleon's a good shout. See, if Gardevoir still outspeeds after the Sticky Waves, thanks to Choice Scarf, then we'll be golden, because we can just go straight for a Psychic. However, Sludge Wave is going to come through. That's going to KO our Inteleon, isn't it? No problems there. Yep, Inteleon goes down, unfortunately. Didn't get to do too much. Took out the Mimikyu, but that's about it. Let's go into our Gardevoir. And we really have to hope here. We really have to hope. And what am I hoping for? Well, it's quite simple, really. I'm hoping that we outspeed. Really hoping we outspeed. Let's go for the Psychic. Let's just go for it. If we outspeed, we win the game. If we outspeed, we win the game. That simple. They are actually going to withdraw, and they're going to sack off the Conkeldurr. Santana. That's an interesting one because I'm not sure why. I guess you definitely need Nidoking, but Psychic's going to one-shot. I mean, it's sheer force boosted for a start. So Conkeldurr goes down. It's all going to come down to whether we can outspeed the Nidoking with the Gardevoir, because Gardevoir, like I said, Sticky Webs is affecting it, but we do have the Choice Scarf, which will build our speed back up. So we're basically a neutral, normal speed right now. So it's whether Gardevoir naturally outspeeds Nidoking or not. That's the only way we can win. Yes, we do outspeed. We go for the Psychic. That's going to take out the Nidoking, and that is going to be the game. So that was a very fun game. That came right down to the wire. Gardevoir coming through like a boss. I just said like a boss in 2022. Oh my god. What is going on with that? Anyway, thank you for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, of course, leave a like, subscribe, all that wonderful jizz jazz. And with that being said, I'll see you all in a bit.